Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Tough questions from lawmakers on the war with Iran. A Trump cabinet member pressed by lawmakers deflecting questions about why we decided to fight in the first place. What she said. Also developing tonight, more chaos at America's airports as the president's pick to lead Homeland Security spars with a senator during his confirmation hearing.
And the people up here that may or may not vote for you to know that you supported the felonious, violent attack on me from behind.
I did not say I supported it. I said I understood it.
And the search for a missing Alabama college student not seen since going to a club with friends in Spain. What his family is asking tonight. And after a suspect tries to make a watery escape, the paddleboard patrol in hot pursuit. What happened next? Also, only in America, what you need to know about a dogfight in the world of high fashion, and it could get rough.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Good evening. The major questions tonight on Capitol Hill. Was Iran an imminent threat to America? Was war the only option to deal with it? And after 3 weeks and thousands of airstrikes, how much longer can the war last? CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard took on those questions and more today. As average U.S. gas prices are up nearly $1 since the fighting began, and many Americans say they still need answers. CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns followed the hearing on Capitol Hill and joins us now. Caitlin, good evening. What did we learn?
Good evening, Tony. Well, Trump's director of national intelligence told Congress that the Iranian regime remains intact but largely degraded. This as lawmakers pressed her on the justification for going to war.
Tulsi Gabbard sidestepped questions today about whether Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, as President Trump has claimed.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
The testimony from Gabbard, a well-known war skeptic, comes the day after her deputy, top counterterrorism official Joe Kent, resigned in protest over the war, arguing the regime posed no imminent threat to our nation. Texas Republican John Cornyn asked CIA Director John Ratcliffe whether there was any indication Iran wasn't an imminent threat.
Senator, no. In fact, the intelligence reflects the contrary.
So you disagree with Mr. Kent?
I do.
At the war's outset, Trump claimed Iran was close to developing a nuclear weapon.
They attempted to rebuild their nuclear program.
But in her prepared remarks, Gabbard wrote that after the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites last summer, there have been no efforts by the Iranians to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, a line she left out of her testimony this morning.
Was that because the president said there was an imminent threat 2 weeks?
No, sir. I recognize that the time was running long, and I skipped through some of the portions.
So you chose to take
of my oral delivered remarks.
You chose
sir.
to omit the parts that contradict the president.
Senators also pressed the officials on whether the president was sufficiently briefed on the consequences for the Strait of Hormuz. Gabbard said it was a long-standing assessment that Iran would hold the strait as leverage, but she declined to detail any of the briefings. Tony?
Caitlin, thank you very much. Oil prices spiked yet again today as Israel hit a major Iranian gas field and Iran hit back with a ballistic missile strike on another major gas facility, this one in Qatar. Senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata has more tonight from Tel Aviv.
Israeli residents are bracing for more Iranian cluster bombs like these that rained down on Tel Aviv and its suburbs overnight and into today. Emergency teams raced to the scene of an attack this afternoon, searching for survivors and surveying the damage. We found walls blown apart, broken glass and debris in every direction. The family wasn't home at the time. Neighbors had time to take shelter moments before impact.
In the past few days, we've seen an increase in the intensity and frequency of these attacks, especially the cluster bombs. There's lots of them. They're hard to defend against, and they can land anywhere.
You have anywhere from 20 to 80 submunitions spreading apart and going over kilometers. Unfortunately, just a few hundred meters from here, the elderly couple were not so lucky last night.
A cluster missile tore through their apartment, killing them both. Israeli police said they were on their way to the bomb shelter, but never made it. Iran has still managed to launch attacks here and across the region, despite weeks of bombardment and airstrikes that killed many of its top leaders, 3 in just the last 2 days. And at a rally in Iran paying tribute to those killed in the war so far, demonstrators set fire to effigies of President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in defiance.
Israeli military officials had their own message of defiance tonight, saying they'd continue what they called the series of eliminations of senior Iranian officials after announcing earlier today they'd killed the regime's head of intelligence. Tony?
Charlie, thank you very much. Today, President Trump's nominee to run Homeland Security urged lawmakers to put aside partisanship and fund the department. But for now, TSA agents aren't getting paid, and those airport security lines are still getting longer. Senior national correspondent Mark Strassman is tracking developments at the airport in Philadelphia.
Abandoned. Half the TSA checkpoints at Philadelphia's airport. 3 of 6. Too many TSA officers were no-shows.
I hope I make it home.
Ava Carley oozed frustration. Her original flight canceled. Lines at Houston's Bush International Airport out the door. This passenger might have felt he could get through War and Peace before reaching security.
I'm here 3 hours early, so let's hope that I get through.
At airports in Houston, Atlanta, and New Orleans, more than 1/3 of TSA workers, thousands of them, called out of work. Congress shows no sign of touching the impasse, other than a DHS secretary nominee waiting to get confirmed.
But we have to get DHS funded. We have to. My friends, we have to set the partisan side down.
TSA workers also waited in line for groceries. This pop-up food bank in South Florida fed nearly 200 TSA workers and their families.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We ask that everybody's supportive of our TSA agents because they're working without a paycheck.
No paychecks, no resolution in sight, and frustration everywhere, including at Atlanta's airport, as CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry found out.
In the time that we've been here, we've seen the wait time only increase. Travelers in the main checkpoint are waiting more than an hour in line. The inconsistency and chaos is adding to the frustration for tens of thousands of daily travelers here.
And Tony, about the last thing that air travelers needed today was a power outage and a ground stop, but that's exactly what happened in Denver today. And so after a few hours, flights resumed, but then passengers had to navigate long lines all over again. Tony?
If it's not one thing, it's another. Mark, thank you very much. To be confirmed, Mullen needs every Republican vote to go his way, which isn't guaranteed, especially given the personal history he has with Senator Rand Paul, who brought it up today, questioning Mullen about comments he had made following a 2017 altercation between Paul and a neighbor.
So you're jolly well fine, and you want the American public and the people up here to vote that may or may not vote for you to know that you supported the felonious, violent attack on me from behind.
I did not say I supported it. I said I understood it. There's a difference.
I should add, with the support of at least one Democrat on the Senate committee, Mullen is expected to eventually be confirmed. The Federal Reserve today decided not to lower interest rates because of rising prices and uncertainty over how the war with Iran will affect the economy. And Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said he'll continue to serve as head of the central bank if his successor is not confirmed by the time his term ends in May. He added that while the Justice Department continues its investigation into a $2.5 billion renovation of the Fed's headquarters and Powell's role in that, he has no plans to step down. We turn now to the search for a University of Alabama student who disappeared after going to a nightclub in Spain. The student is from the Chicago area originally, where national correspondent Usher Qureshi reports.
James Paul Gracie, a University of Alabama junior, was reported missing after he failed to return to his Airbnb in Barcelona early Tuesday morning. The 20-year-old was last seen around 3 a.m. outside Xoco, a popular beachfront nightclub where he went with a group of friends. His family says he was on spring break visiting friends who are studying abroad. Police have recovered Gracie's phone, according to his family. They describe him as kind, responsible, and devoted, and say it's out of character for him not to check in.
We really just need everybody's help to please look through your phone if you were there that night. Look for pictures. Please reach out to the authorities there.
Gracie was supposed to return to his home here in Elmhurst, a suburb just west of Chicago, on Saturday. His aunt says their family is working with Spanish authorities to try and locate him. Tony?
Usher, thank you very much. We turn now to the dangerous heat that's baking much of the West. More than 60 record highs were hit yesterday, including Palm Springs, 103 degrees there. Phoenix, too. It had its first 100-degree high of the year today, the earliest that's ever happened. Chris Van Cleve is there.
A West Coast winter warm-up that feels more like the sizzle of summer. Triple-digit heat is expected across parts of the West, sending people along the coast to the beach and those inland indoors.
We had May sometimes with 90 to 100-degree weathers, but not in March. This is ridiculous.
The Phoenix area hit 100 degrees earlier than any other year in recorded history today, and already firefighters have been responding to heat emergencies on local hiking trails. Captain Adam Skyver handled this one Tuesday.
Once you start to go down that path of heat exhaustion and heat stroke and all those things, it progresses very quickly.
It's still winter, and we're talking about triple-digit heat.
Yes, it's bonkers.
Firefighters have pre-staged ice at the base of popular hiking trails and carry these body-sized bags that can instantly cool people down.
There's a ton of people here for spring training. They're not used to the heat. It's just a different type of heat, and it affects people differently.
More than a dozen spring training games have moved their start time from midday to evening.
We got to make sure that the fans are safe, that we're safe. Heck, there was a fan that passed out there watching the workout. So when you start to see that, it's a real thing.
Salt River Fields has brought these giant 125-gallon water coolers to help fans stay hydrated. Amelia Fonda is visiting from a cooler Colorado.
I don't think there's enough sunscreen in the world for today. It's like I was not expecting it to be this warm. Like coming from Boulder, I was like, I miss the cold wind.
Tomorrow's excessive heat warning will close many popular hiking trails in the Phoenix area. Air temperature right now is about 100 degrees. The heat coming off the ground, though, closer to 130. And that has started to wake up rattlesnakes and scorpions from their dormant cycle. Bites and stings are way up, Tony.
Chris, thank you very much. We turn now to the serious allegations just coming out now against labor icon and activist Cesar Chavez, who died back in 1993. Two women, now in their 60s, say that Chavez raped and sexually abused them when they were as young as 12. Other women came forward as well, including Dolores Huerta, the co-founder of United Farm Workers Union with Chavez. Now 95, she says he raped her in the 1960s, and she secretly had two of his children. Many events honoring Chavez later this month have been canceled. We turn now to our investigation into the death last weekend of a migrant from Afghanistan in ICE custody. He is the 12th person this year to die while being detained by federal immigration officials. Details now from CBS News immigration correspondent Camilo Montoya Galvez.
I just want an answer from my dad. That's it. I want to know why he died.
Imran Pakhtawal's father, 41-year-old Afghan immigrant Mohammed Nazir Pakhtawal, died in ICE custody this past weekend. He was detained as he was getting ready to take his children to school. 24 hours later, the father of 6 became the 12th person to die in ICE custody less than 3 months into 2026. Nazir Pakhtawal received the body of his brother on Tuesday.
I received a call from my sister-in-law. She said that some people show up from nowhere and they just took your brother.
No explanation?
Nothing.
ICE says Pakhtawal was detained after 2 arrests by local authorities on fraud and theft charges. He was not convicted. His brother points to a decade of service in the Afghan military, fighting alongside U.S. forces before being evacuated to the U.S. in 2021.
These are the people that my brother was working.
American soldiers.
American soldiers in Afghanistan.
That's your brother right there.
This is my brother. This is his badge.
It is still unclear exactly what happened after Paktawal was detained.
I received a call. They told me, we arrested your brother, and he wants to talk to you.
What did he tell you?
He said, Nasir, I don't know where am I right now, and I'm not feeling well.
What do you think happened?
That's my question. Why is he dead?
ICE says he died at a local hospital and is investigating.
He was a good dad.
For a 12-year-old Imran, his father's absence is hard to process. But how he remembers him is clear.
He was a hero, and he will be always a hero.
Camilo Montoya Galvez, Dallas.
After a season of historic attendance, the WNBA today announced details of a new deal that could double, triple, even quadruple salaries. CBS's Jan Crawford with what it means for the league.
When the Indiana Fever took on the Chicago Sky last May, the game demolished WNBA viewership numbers going back almost 30 years, with nearly 3 million people tuning in. With the most watched season ever, the players made their point clear: pay us what you owe us. Overnight, the league ownership agreed, striking an historic deal. The final details are still being worked out, but ESPN reports stars can now make at least $1.4 million a year, up from $250,000. The minimum salary jumps from $66,000 to $300,000, and the average salary will quadruple to $600,000 a year. Nneka Agumake, head of the WNBA Players Association, shared the celebration over the deal and said it redefines what it means to be a professional in this league.
It is game-changing.
Erica Ayala is a CBS Sports women's basketball analyst.
To see women's basketball be able to secure this contract, I think bodes well for the growth that we will continue to see in all of women's sports.
An astonishing turnaround from just a few years ago when players were flying commercial, with all that entails.
It's the first time in my 11 seasons that I've ever had to sleep in the airport.
It's a slam dunk for the players and fans, with the new season tipping May 8th. Jan Crawford, CBS News, Washington.
Up next, we've shown you a lot of high-speed police pursuits. This is not one of those. We'll explain. Now to what must have seemed like a good idea at the time. A Florida man runs from law enforcement Monday, jumps into the Halifax River near Daytona Beach, perhaps thinking that would be the end of it. Not in these parts. Out came the police paddleboards, off came the regular police uniforms, and a sheriff's deputy and Daytona police officer caught the man mid-river. He was charged with, among other things, resisting arrest. Still ahead, a high-fashion dogfight, Vogue versus Dogue. Only in America tonight, a fashion magazine for dogs is being sued by a fashion magazine for people. And this is a genuine legal fight, so please, dear viewer, hold your smile as I describe it. This on your screen is Dogue. It describes itself as the world's first dog magazine, aka the authoritative bark on the world of canine couture and lifestyle. And yes, it openly admits it was indeed inspired by Vogue, that famous global brand in fashion for people. And the creator of Dogue, Oli Port, sometimes even poses Dogue and Vogue side by side right there on the newsstand. That is on the one newsstand in Beverly Hills that actually sells Dogue, total circulation under 100 magazines an issue. And yet, Condé Nast, the parent company of Vogue with a V, is suing, alleging that the dog magazine is obviously intended and likely to cause consumer confusion. And here's the twist. While Vogue with a V is a magazine for people, it also has a special annual issue devoted to dogs, celebrity dogs, called Dogue. Yes. So the courts are going to have to figure out who's biting who here. It now wants all copies, this is what Vogue wants, of Dogue destroyed, in addition to unspecified damages. But Port says she's going to fight back. She says the magazine's a parody. Nobody could confuse it with Vogue magazine. Okay, you can smile now. That's another day in America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tony DeCopel. Good night.